as a finance leader, why would you bother upgrading your management accounts? It doesn't sound like a very interesting thing to do. You do your management accounts every single month. So actually spending the time to upgrade them, is there any use in that, especially since hardly anyone reads them? So that's something that I have heard before. That is also something that I have thought before, probably about 10 years ago. But it's certainly something that I don't think anymore. The reason why it's worthwhile spending time looking at your management accounts and essentially upgrading them to the best that you can. Well, there's two main reasons, actually. The first one, which is more about you, is that if you are a finance leader, so whether you're a finance director or CFO or even a head of finance, if you're in one of those roles, or if you're a financial controller or finance manager and wanting to get into a finance leadership role, making sure that your management accounts are really interesting to read and have had a lot of thought process in them is one of the quickest and easiest ways to demonstrate that. Because this is another reason, because every decision maker in the business receives this management accounts report from you and your team every single month. So if you think about who's actually reading the management accounts, you've got the board of directors, shareholders and investors, CEO or founder, the entire leadership team, and sometimes even the management team. And so that is a lot of decision makers that you are sending this report to every single month. You're also sending it to third parties like suppliers and banks. So it's a lot of, influential people that you are sending this report to. And because of that, if you are just churning out the same kind of management accounts every single month, that can either be boring to read, has the same things every single month, or even worse, isn't trusted, then you're not really going to be put in good stead for considered to be a good leader or considered for that leadership role. So if you think about what a good leader demonstrates, what kind of skills they need to have, you can demonstrate a lot of those things just in the old management accounts. So one of the big things as a leader you need to be very good at is communication. And whether that be communication verbally or whether it be electronically or in a report, then having a commentary and having within your email interesting communication or something that grabs hold of the reader, you can really demonstrate good communication skills in your management accounts. Being strategic, that is another thing that a leader has to be really good at. So if your management accounts are not just backwards looking, like most management accounts, but actually has an element of forward looking, so you're finding a trend and making suggestions as to how this trend could affect the future, then that is one way that you can be quite strategic. Planning, obviously, if you don't plan, the management accounts aren't going to hit any deadlines. Working within teams. So again, if you don't understand what's happening in other departments, so like in the sales team, commercial team, operations team, it's very difficult to write good commentary or really understand the business or understand what are the right KPIs that should be included within the management accounts. So you really demonstrate that kind of coordination, planning, and cooperation, working with other teams. So you can see quite quickly, actually, the management accounts could be quite a good way of demonstrating those leadership skills. And then, of course, the second reason as to why you would want to upgrade your management accounts is because it can add really good business value. So this is, obviously more about the business and less about you. But actually, if you engage the readers by being interesting to read, whether that's through charts or just having a very quick high-level points that people need to take away, or doing some strategic thinking about some trends that you're seeing over the last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, even 24 months, and highlighting that to the business, or showing the profitability on certain customers or certain products that could be something worthwhile looking at, then it's really good for the business. They would want to then read the management accounts and understand the numbers. So if you have a leadership team, for example, that aren't particularly great at reading the management accounts because they're not very great at accounting and understanding numbers, then it's probably worthwhile training them and upskilling them, doing one-to-ones, taking them through it, telling them why it's interesting and why they need to care. And that's not a bad thing from a business perspective. If you have very strong financial leadership team, or what's probably going to happen is you probably have a mixture of both. But if you have a really strong team, then it's making sure that they are getting what they need in order for them to make the right business decisions. So as you can see, if you have a management account that is really interesting, really adds value, it's great not just for the business, but also for your career, really, and for your reputation and the way that people think about you and your finance team. Because as you may or may not know, if you're a leader, you really get judged on your output rather than how many hours you work. And the management accounts is probably the most common output of every finance leader and finance leaders team, is because it has to be done every single month, regardless of which company you work for, and you never miss a month. It happens every single month, and everybody expects it. Whether it's a private company or a charity or a large company, you are still doing your monthly management accounts. So it's really important to make sure that they're as good as they can be. It does take a little while to upgrade them. It might take you 6 months, but it's really worthwhile the investment rather than just churning out the same things every single month. I do a mini course on how to upgrade your management account. So if you are interested in having a little bit of help with that, then check out the link below. Otherwise, take a look at your management accounts, see where you can make it a bit more interesting and trustworthy so that the business will want to read what you and your team are sending out every month. Okay, I hopefully you find that useful. Cheers.